Hi.
Hey.
Welcome to the Rad We're Cracking Up podcast, season 1, episode 3. And we're your hosts, Julie and Rich. So a quick disclaimer, some discussions may contain adult topics and language and may not be suitable for children and sensitive adults.
And we want to make sure to remind you, if you haven't already, to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button.
Yes.
Like this video. Tell all of your friends about us because, we are super entertaining.
Exactly.
Right? But hitting that subscribe button will really help us get our podcast out there. So we appreciate your help with that.
We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks.
So hit it.
Yeah, so what's up, Spaz?
Hey, nerd. Dork. Hey, Dark.
Dork. So...
Today,
want to tell them what we're talking about today?
well, the electric youth. We're going to be talking about the 70s, 80s, and 90s, the golden years. So we have a lot of good stuff.
These were our golden years.
Well, they were
Maybe
our
not
golden
for our
years.
grandparents,
Yes, not for our grandparents.
but ours.
And not for our kids, although they had to deal with us. So,
You know what?
yeah, probably a little. So
Maybe like
90s.
the late 70s, 80s, and 90s. I don't feel like I should be old enough to say the 1970s.
70s. Well,
It seems like such a long time ago.
It does. It so does. The 70s, but they were awesome. Yeah, the 70s were great. I
suppose.
Yeah, I was a teen. So,
You were a teen in the 70s?
well, yeah.
At the end of the 70s.
No, at the end of the 70s.
Yeah.
I was a teen. Right. Graduated grade school in the 70s.
Hey, your hair looks rad, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. Totally cool, right?
Yeah.
I know. I tried it. I got on. I need to
Yeah,
get off the
yeah.
shoulder, but I needed to. Yeah, I know.
I mean,
I like the collar.
Yeah. I think we did well for it not being.
Yeah.
I don't have any clothes from that
No,
era.
I think I threw them out a few years back.
Yeah,
Maybe in the move. I think I threw out some of my big shoulder pads because they were really in.
those were. I even had
in the 90s.
I had
in
a
the
jacket
80s.
with shoulder pads.
Huge.
It was like white, silky looking material,
Yeah.
and it had shoulder pads.
I was flying it would have been the 80s. I had this purple suit on when you flew on planes and you had to dress nice. We always dress nice on airplanes.
Yeah.
And everybody smoked, and by the time you got off the plane, you smelled
You
like
smell like a cigarette.
and you were drunk and
Yeah.
whatever, or buzzed. And but I had this purple pantsuit on and gold buttons and huge shoulder pads. And I remember landing in, I think, Paris, or I was connecting somewhere in Europe, and they pulled me over and actually did a
had to
pad.
check your.
I had to, yeah, they patted me down to check to see,
You must have looked
what was-
suspicious.
But could you imagine? And I love it. I love this purple outfit.
With the giant shoulders.
I probably look like a big grape.
I think that was probably a look that was popular.
I know. It was so funny, though. They patted me down. Being a foreigner, and yeah, it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I'll never forget something like that.
That's funny.
Yeah. So, yeah. So did you have long hair in the 70s or 80s?
Not in the 70s. In the 70s, I was still, at the end of the 70s, I wasn't a teenager yet. But my haircut was probably very much that of a country boy. I do remember that I didn't like my hair had to come down over my ears because I thought I had big ears.
Did you wear a mullet?
Not in the 70s.
No?
No. That rolled in the 80s.
Okay.
Yeah, as I became
Did you have a mullet in the 80s?
rad. I did.
yeah?
I did. Yeah, I had a perm
Wow.
and a mullet.
Such a dork.
Totally.
But you were all that in a bag of chips.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know about that, but yeah, but I just, the 70s were kind of, what I remember about the 70s the most is being put to bed because we were still kids, right? And so we had a bedtime, being put to bed but sneaking out of bed and peeking out the bedroom door to see the TV to watch Solid Gold.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember watching Dionne Warwick on Solid Gold, peeking out of my bedroom window or out of my bedroom door to see the TV. Like that's the big
Yeah. That was the big show.
the big show. That was the big nighttime adult
Yeah.
show in the 70s.
But what was the one on the weekends? It was the other one when they were all dancing. And
Was that Soul Train?
Soul Train.
Oh my gosh, I
Loved
forgot
Soul
about that.
Train.
Yes.
I would always watch Soul Train. That was
I forgot about
just
that.
yeah, cool
Well, you-
outfits and big hair and all that good stuff.
We, TV in the 70s was it's funny because when I started looking back about stuff in the 70s, kind of refresh my memory,
Right.
all these things started popping. I was like, oh my God, like MASH.
Yeah,
Did you watch MASH?
loved MASH.
Yes.
Huge show.
Like totally
Yeah.
like MASH and Happy Days,
Oh, Happy Days.
All in the Family and Charlie's Angels. Those were all huge
Huge shows.
hits and
Yeah.
shows in the 70s. And
Yeah,
I
didn't
remember
miss those.
watching it. I know.
Yeah, the Love Boat, but that was probably the 80s.
Love Boat. Yeah, I think that came a little bit later.
Yeah, a little later.
Same thing as
MASH.
Fantasy Island.
Oh, Fantasy Island.
But I'm trying to think. My favorite TV show in the 70s was The $6 Million Man.
Oh, I like that. And then came the Bionic Woman.
Bionic Woman.
Well, you had the Brady Bunch. We love the Brady
Oh,
Bunch.
yeah.
Didn't miss that. Marsha.
Marsha.
I'm going to comb my hair. That was interesting.
That was that in the early 70s? Is that when the Brady Bunch came out? I feel like it was.
Maybe.
Or was it in the late 60s that it started?
I don't think it was the 60s. I have a feeling. It was in the 70s. Could be wrong. Didn't look that one up. Did you wear parachute pants?
In the
Oh,
80s,
that
I
was
did.
the 80s.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah,
80s.
yeah.
Like 70s
Yeah.
was bell bottoms. Did you wear bell bottoms as a kid?
So wore bell
I
bottoms.
remember my mom
Yep.
wearing bell bottoms. Remember the tube tops?
Yes, and we had the tube tops. Yeah,
that was
always
it.
wore the tube tops. And the gauchos. We would wear, I would go to school. Gauchos are sort of in. And
What's a
not many
gaucho?
people wore them. Not many kids wore them. But I would go to school, and my mom always dressed us pretty fashionable, even though we didn't have a lot. But somehow or another, I ended up with these gauchos.
What is a
They were-
gaucho?
They were like right below the knee and flare, pretty flare, and they were gauchos. Yeah, I don't know which. I probably wore clogs with them or
You know,
something.
I think growing up in
Clogs
the
were big.
country, we probably didn't have gauchos.
You were let a sheltered life.
No
Dark.
gauchos in rural Pennsylvania. You roll up your jeans.
Nah.
I do remember bell bottoms, though.
Yeah, bell
I
bottoms.
do
were
remember
huge.
bell bottoms.
Bell bottoms and the high waisted, and then the tube tops.
And suede shoes. That was a big thing, too,
Oh,
in the
suede
70s.
shoes.
Like
Yeah,
suede shoes.
Yeah, they were
Yeah,
big.
Yeah.
Yeah, the suede shoes. Yeah, and then that just reminded me of Elvis blue suede shoes.
Elvis.
Skeleton.
Elvis. That's right. So Elvis was big in the 70s.
And the 70s, first kiss, and we go to dances in grade school, and then we'd have about 5 lip glosses in our pocket, you know?
Wait a minute. You had grade
Like-
school dances?
Yeah,
What?
yeah. And so we were all of us girls would talk about our first kiss, and we'd have to make sure they were all flavored. Then you go to the store
Oh,
and you
yeah.
buy these flavored lip glosses.
Yep.
So I remember thinking, oh my gosh, is my first kiss going to be tonight at a dance? And we'd pull out the lip gloss and make sure our lips
my
were all dazzled
gosh.
and waiting to see if it was going to be our first kiss. Well, we were doing the bump.
The bump.
The mump.
The mump.
No, the bump.
The bump.
Dark.
I can't. I'm still like, we didn't have dances in grade school.
And country life.
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
We were doing chores
Yeah.
while y'all were dancing. We had to do our chores.
Right.
That's what we were doing in the country.
Am I supposed to believe that?
Yeah, I don't know. We just didn't have. I'm trying to think what did we have when I was in grade school.
Nothing? No dances?
Our church would get together at the school, and we would have square dance. We did square dancing in the school not auditorium, gymnasium.
Well, that's fun.
It actually was fun.
Yeah, I like square dancing. We did it in gym.
Yeah, I like square dancing.
As weird as that is.
It was fun. But what was your tape? So 70s was very disco. Did you have a favorite like group or person that you listened to?
Not in the 70s so much.
I think we were
Probably
too
more in the
young in
80s.
the 70s
Yeah,
to really have
and-
a favorite artist.
Yes, it was in the 80s. And my sister was older, so she was turning me on to some music, and so she'd bring albums home. Oh, we have a few. Yeah. We have a few items here to represent the era.
The
The
retro.
Beanie Baby- yeah. Still at the old Walkman. Wow.
That's crazy.
And it's a sports Walkman. Must have been sporty. And
It's been from when you were jogging.
I was a jogger in the 80s. Yeah, I did jog. I jog in a full face mask in the middle of winter.
Oh my God.
I know, that's crazy. I would jog all the
That's
time.
crazy.
And if it was cold, I'd put a full face mask on. First, I wasn't pulled over. Yeah, some old albums. What was I just saying, though, about... Yeah, wow. That's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
No,
I don't
we're
remember.
in
We were talking about
2020s.
music, not really having a favorite artist.
Oh, yeah, the 80s. The 80s was... Oh, my sister would turn me on to music. More rock, beginning of rock. And then I started just getting into it then, probably. And
Yeah.
then disco just hit it hard in the 80s. So, I mean,
Disco.
there was no getting away from that.
Was it in the 80s? I thought disco was
Was it
more
more
70s.
90s?
No, it was
70s?
70s.
You think 70s?
Yeah. Disco was definitely 70s. That's Donna Summers and
Oh, yeah.
they were all 70s.
Well, what about...
Well, that's when Saturday Night Live was on.
Well, when did... Okay. Yes,
Yeah, that was the 70s was very disco.
that's right. That's right.
ABBA.
Because I'm thinking more Madonna, but you're not calling that disco.
Yeah,
You're
and that's
calling
not
that
disco.
more,
That's kind of, what do you call that?
yeah, what do you call that? And that was the 80s. The 80s, a whole new era
That's
of music.
That's-
Yeah, disco, yes, I guess so. We were probably doing the bump to disco.
was disco.
But Donna Summer, yeah, we love Donna Summer.
You see, I didn't
And
really
she was good.
listen to a whole lot of
Actually, we still have it on our
kind of music.
music list today. The pie out on in the rain or something.
Mhm.
I was like, it's pretty gnarly.
Gnarly.
Oh my gosh, I don't remember. We just listened to it too. Shoot, I left in the rain. Yeah,
I just sing,
Something like
sing a
that.
couple more lines. I'm not getting it.
that's all I got. All right.
I mean,
Anyways.
we do have a resident disco specialist in the neighborhood. One day we'll have to have him on. And
It was the cake. I left the cake out. Anyways, it'll come to me. Yeah, so in the neighborhood, sorry. It's just spazzed out. Yep.
hey, Rachel said, "Awesome, love the setup."
Oh, no way.
Rachel K.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
How about
Thanks,
that?
Rach.
Look at that.
Thanks,
Look at us
Rachel
getting
K.
comments on our live.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
Need
you.
some more of those. Bring them in.
Yeah.
Bring them in. You like my hair? Rachel K. Thanks. Do you have any questions about the 70s or 80s? You could also put them in here. And to see what we were all doing during that time,
Yeah.
maybe we'll let out a little bit.
Maybe. Well, 70s were pretty innocent. Still
70s
kinda
were
young.
innocent,
Yeah.
kind of young. And then the 80s came in, rolling in.
Hey, but I just kind of was throwing these out there before we started this, and Julie was like, "Don't say anymore. Don't say." The stuff that I had found online, we do a little research before podcast, but she wanted to be surprised. But I did find, like, in the 1970s, gas was 1970, gas was 36 cents a gallon. I remember it being like 74 cents, 79 cents a gallon. And I think that was in the 70s. I know it was.
Well, I would have got my first car in about 85 because I had to save up my money. And it was cheap. But, also you'd go into gas stations and it was all serviced gas
Oh,
stations.
yeah, it wasn't self-serve.
They'd clean your windshield.
Yeah, clean your windshield.
And fill your tank. And Yeah, it was awesome. Never had to leave your car.
Didn't they check your oil too?
I think they did check
I
your oil.
I think they
Yeah.
did. I think
Yeah.
you could literally pull up and they would come out.
Yeah.
I mean, this is something great for the young people today because they don't have any idea that this existed.
Right.
Like you didn't have to get out of your car and pump your own gas.
Yeah,
How rad
just
is that?
Sat in there, and they, yeah. And we didn't have phones we could be looking at. We were just, yeah.
Yeah, you sat there and you
doing
watched the
something.
guy cleaning your windshield.
And it was all normal. Normal.
was. I remember when the first self-serve pump started showing up at the gas station.
You do?
Yes, when you could actually get out and pump your own gas.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I remember
when
that
took
because
place.
in our little
Sort of
town
rolled in.
in rural Pennsylvania, I mean, it was self-serve. I mean, it was full service. And then we started to have, you had like a couple pumps that were self-serve and then a couple pumps that were full service.
Oh, yeah.
So you could pull up and do it yourself or.
Right, they were both.
Yep.
And you could decide. And then that completely went away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was all-
I'm not going to lie. What a sucky job in the wintertime up north.
Yeah.
To be a gas station attendant when you got to go out and
Yeah, and I grew up right outside of Chicago.
see,
Yeah, same.
where it's cold.
Very cold. Yeah. I just reminded me of being at home, and there would be only one phone in the house. So I remember,
And no cell phones.
yeah, no cell. So, and the cord was about 15 feet long and stretched to the max at that.
Yep.
You know, and waiting for a call and no call waiting. Like, oh, did this guy call yet? Did he call? He's going to call. Ma, get off the phone. Get off the phone. You know?
Yeah, because we had busy signals back
Yeah,
then.
it was just busy signals, right? Get off the
Right.
phone.
And it was a
I know
dial-up
he's gonna
phone.
call. Yeah, circle. I have one of those,
Do you?
and I have the '80s version, the sort of half moon circle. Like, you remember? Not the one on the wall, the stationary one, where it was sort of a half moon, and the numbers were on the bottom of it.
Oh, no, I don't remember that.
You remember that one? Oh man,
We just always had whatever phone we got from the phone
the
company.
square one. Yeah,
that you rented. Yeah, we had ours was on the wall in the kitchen.
yeah.
And I mean, I remember.
No, I don't think the half moon ones came out until probably the '80s because it was just sort of a new version of it, sort of cool. And the cool people had them.
Yeah, we weren't cool.
Yeah, you're dark.
Totally. Totally. We didn't have that. We didn't have the need for those cool accessories out in the middle of,
Country boy.
yeah, out in the country.
Country boy. But so Valley Girl talk, the big hair, of course, the neon colors. Trying
Yeah,
to
that was
pull some
all.
of those in. That was '80s.
That was all
That was
80s.
all '80s. Yeah, but you know what was cool about '70s too, and even probably even into the '80s, you never felt threatened anywhere you went. You just sort of free to roam. You just sort of went out. There were no phones, no computers, nothing. So you just went out.
Wherever you went with your cigarette in your hand, blowing smoke. Could go wherever you wanted to.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah.
You could smoke.
Isn't
And
it?
then just go. Well, I didn't smoke as a kid.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't smoking at age 10. But you know, there's things where, because we used to go with my grandfather who smoked,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I remember, you just smoked everywhere.
You smoked everywhere.
And
Everywhere.
you didn't wear a seatbelt in the car.
No seatbelt.
You didn't wear the seatbelt.
Yeah, no seat. Yep.
You used to
Well-
ride in the back of the pickup.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, how about the family vacations? And then we'd be so crowded. Some of us were in the lower area of the back seat with pillows and blankets,
Yeah.
crashing out.
Yep.
And then the other two would be on the upper seat.
Yep.
Right?
Or we used to be in the back of the station wagon.
Yeah.
Get in the back of the station wagon.
Yeah. And no seatbelts. And no video games. No movies. Nothing.
That's freaky deaky.
Yeah, it's freaky deaky. Except a CB radio. We had to listen to a CB radio. It's like, oh, shoot me now.
Look, while we have this, while we were talking about this, did you know that Sony launched the portable Sony Walkman on July 1st, 1979?
Really?
That was the first one. Yep.
Really?
So it is a product of the 70s.
Oh, very
It's a
cool.
long time ago.
It's an antique.
Yeah. It's very rare.
I still have a cassette in here, too.
Yeah. Cassette? What's that?
Yeah, let's check it out, who it is.
Nobody does cassettes anymore.
Okay.
Do you remember when cassettes became popular? Like it was the 8-track before the cassettes, which were bigger cartridges.
The bigger ones. Yeah, sort of like that in a way. So guess who this is?
Oh my gosh. Well,
Oh, it's a lot.
uh,
It's not Elvis.
it's not Elvis.
No.
Is it 80s?
Yes.
John Cougar Mellencamp.
No, it's
I know it's not Debbie Gibson.
no, it's not. You pick them up off the ground when you're cleaning in the spring.
When you're cleaning in the spring, you pick them up off the ground. Flowers.
No, sticks.
Sticks. Oh, sticks.
Sticks.
Oh my gosh, what did they sing? Come on, give us a line.
Lady. I'm not a singer.
Wait, what was that?
Lady.
Oh, Lady?
Lady.
They sang Lady?
Yeah.
I thought that was Lionel Richie.
Maybe.
Lady.
It's on here. Wow.
I could be wrong because I don't know.
No, it was Sticks.
Sticks. I forgot about Sticks. I'll have to pull that up and
Wow, I can't even believe I still have it.
listen to it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that is crazy that you
That
have
is crazy.
a cassette.
Yep. Now I remember in the probably 70s also the vans.
Oh.
Yeah, the shaggin' wagons.
Shaggin' wagon.
Yeah.
Those were the one that you were told to stay away from.
Yeah,
The guys that
conversion
drive
vans,
up in the vans.
all carpeted.
Yeah,
on
the carpet,
inside.
like green
Yeah.
carpet on the ceiling and the
Right,
walls.
Right. So I come into the 80s, right, and start dating, and if a guy had a van like that, you're like, what's he up to? What does he want?
You knew what he wanted.
Stay away from him.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you
have
weren't
to
driving
rethink.
one of those vans if you
Yeah.
were like just looking for a hug.
Right. And drugs are becoming huge in the 80s. Certain ones, they were becoming bigger.
Yeah.
And then you just
Would you like to
maybe
take a
wanted to
ride in my
stay away
van?
from those vans. Yeah,
But they were cool. I mean, I remember
they were awesome.
mirrors on the ceiling in a van, and not that I was in a van, but somebody had a van that had mirrors.
My neighbors had one.
I think my Aunt Judy and Uncle Ronnie had a van, if I'm remembering correctly.
All carpeted up.
Carpeted, yeah.
Yeah, they were fun. I mean, who would
It
do
is
that
cool,
now?
like-
Yeah, how comfortable that would be. Except, there were no seatbelts.
We should have a We're Cracking Up podcast
Wouldn't work.
van like that.
Yeah,
We should have a van where we just
I
ride
like
around.
that. Ride around
our
and being all
carpet.
carpeted. Yeah.
I mean, though,
Just go rad with
maybe
it.
not like green carpet, though.
No, not green. Maybe just something cool though.
Could
Something
you
fun.
imagine trying to pick out stuff for in a van?
No,
That would take forever.
that would take forever.
As if.
Oh my god.
Oh.
I know that would be bad. It would take forever.
Oh,
I could do that though.
that
Definitely.
would be fun.
What?
So, just real quick facts. I did pull some fun facts.
Okay.
Like to me,
hear some fun
they're
facts.
they're kind of more. They're not fun, I guess. They're more serious. But like, the median
true.
household income in 1970 was $8,730. You can't even buy a car for that. That was
No.
an annual income
Wow.
in 1970.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy to
Yeah,
think
that
about?
is really crazy.
How do you
How do you
eat
live?
and pay rent or mortgage? Though rent was $112, and this was coming out of Florida in 1970. The average rent was $112.
Well, I was just going to ask you, how much was a home? Did you pull any
Yeah.
of that up?
Yep. Median house price was $39,300.
39,000
Yeah.
in the 70s?
That was this was in 1975. I pulled from the middle of the 70s.
39,000. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And today it's 467,000, just to show you the difference.
Wow.
But could you you can barely get a car for $39,300 today.
Right.
It's crazy.
That is crazy.
How
Heck? Wow.
it's such a drastic change from the 70s to now that because you live it, you don't realize how drastic those changes are.
Right. And so it goes. Give me the skinny. Give me the skinny on the set.
But when you stop and you look back at these things and you're like, wow, that's crazy. Like, how do you 87.30? I mean, that's like if you make that in a month now, that's, I don't know. I feel like that's probably closer to average now.
Right. Right.
But
What else you have? Give me the skinny on the 80s.
let's see. So, in 1970, the nation's best-selling car was the Chevrolet Impala. Do you remember the Impala? Wasn't that a big car?
Well, they were all big cars.
They were.
They were the tanks. They were all huge cars. I had a big car. My first car was huge. Huge. We may have had an Impala. I don't remember. And it was
never
yellow.
Yellow.
It was yellow.
Oh.
And it wasn't, the horn would stick sometimes.
Oh.
So we'd be going through town and the horn would start. And we're like, Mom, we'd pull over like, oh boy, here goes again. And the horn would be blaring.
Oh, how did you get the horn to stop blowing?
Gosh, I don't remember. I just know I was probably sinking down in the back seat. Like, come on, Mom, again.
That's funny.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it was an Impala, though.
So
okay.
we didn't have an Impala.
What'd you have? Do you remember? Oh, you had a station wagon.
We
never had a station.
We had a Pinto wagon in the 70s.
Ooh, super rad.
Yeah, totally.
Super rad.
Totally. We had, I'm trying to think.
The Pinto.
Pinto. That was like a little car.
It was a little car. Wasn't it a hatchback? Or you had the big one?
This was a station wagon, and it had wood grain siding on it. It was green.
Oh,
with
one of
wood grain siding.
those. I
Yeah.
remember seeing those. The wood
Pinto-
grain station
Pinto
wagon.
station
Yeah,
wagon.
those are cool.
I wonder who made Pinto.
I don't.
Is that a Ford Pinto? I think maybe it was.
Sounds right.
It does sound right. I think it was a Ford Pinto.
Yeah, the hatchbacks I never really were into.
It's just,
Look like a big Beetle or something.
yeah, some of those cars in the 70s did look kind of
Yeah.
not as sleek as they are now, that's for sure.
But the 70s did put out a lot of great cars outside of the Pinto.
70s, I think one of the
really
popular
good cars.
muscle cars was still like the Mustang.
Huge muscle cars came out in the 70s. So that was fun. Yeah. My car was a 75 Monte Carlo, which was a tank.
Yeah.
Huge
That's
eight-cylinder.
a popular car.
Took a lot of gas. Yeah, it was fun though. 8-cylinder, 350, fast. Oh my gosh, that was so fun. So fast.
I remember. I think my cousin has one of those. I think he still has it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
Yeah. I
Should've
think that's
kept
what
mine.
it was.
Should have kept mine. Who knew? I don't know if Monte Carlos, though, of that 75 are that popular for car enthusiasts. I don't think they're up there on the list. I watch Meekum. You don't see many of those.
Oh, hey. So 1970, the Chevy Impala for the 4-door sedan was $3,012.
Wow.
That's a lot of money if you're only making like $87.30 for the entire year.
That is. It's almost half your salary.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Well, let's see.
Are you in the mood for chocolate?
I am always in the mood for chocolate. Why don't we have some here?
It's a good question.
So national news in the 1970s. Some of the big things that happened
Now you're going to bore me.
was the Vietnam War came to an end.
Well, that was good.
Watergate scandal led to the resignation of which president?
Nixon.
Yep, very good.
Thank you.
Jimmy Carter grappled with the energy crisis. I remember that like a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And then that was also the Iran hostage crisis was in the 70s. Do you remember that? I do. They like held.
Yeah, well, there's a
Hostages
movie out
for-
about it now. Well, it's been out a while with Ben Affleck. That was a great movie.
I don't
Great.
think I saw
Oh,
that.
great movie.
I
You
should
should
watch
watch
it because I remember very
Yeah.
well because there was a cemetery not too far from us that put a flag up for every day that
They were there.
held captive, and so the whole cemetery had flags all through it.
Wait, so I remember growing up, and we put yellow ribbons around our trees one
Mm-hmm.
year. Gosh, what was that for? You just remind me of that.
Tie a yellow ribbon round the old oak tree. That was probably during
Captain
that
and
time.
Tennille.
Oh yes, I love that song.
Yeah,
I'm not
that
gonna
was a
lie.
big song.
Loved it.
Oh my gosh.
I think that was during that time. They had
Yeah.
you tying the yellow ribbons around the tree.
Yeah, for that.
Yeah, in support of the hostages.
Yeah,
Ouch.
it's a good movie. You should watch it. It's really, really good.
I should watch it.
Shout out to Ben. Give us a call.
Just pick up the phone and give us a
Hit
call.
us up on the comments. I see you have a new movie out too with your buddy. It's awesome. Looks good. So let's go to the 80s. There's a few things I remember. Well, one more thing about the 70s. We would lay out and get suntan, and we'd put baby oil everywhere, and we just get singed
Yeah.
in the summer. And man, oh man, you never do that today.
No.
I mean, I would have blisters if I put my
Yeah.
arms up from here.
Well, I think there's a
my
lot of people
face.
paying for that
Yeah.
type of action in the 70s now with their.
Totally. Oh man, it was just such a big deal. Yeah, Mom, give me the baby oil, and then you just slather yourself.
Where did we lay? Where did we go in this? Oh, we had a public pool in town.
Oh yeah.
So we would go to the pool. Like
Yeah,
that was the cool.
that's
Remember,
true.
like the music being piped
Oh,
outside
it
and
was
the
so fun.
little can speakers
Yeah.
up on the poles. Yeah.
We'd ride our bikes there almost every day.
No, well, it
and
wasn't
got the
close
little
enough for us
locks
to-
and put around the bikes.
It was in town. We were not in town, so we had to. Somebody had to take us in
Yeah.
and drop us off.
Drive. Yeah, we spent our whole summer there.
Hmm.
Yeah. Fun.
That was fun.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah, that was the age of innocence when we were still young enough to be
It was very rad.
just about.
So there's something I want to bring up though. When I was in high school, and this is a question that I still have today, and maybe you could answer this. But in high school, I probably took 3 years or at least 2 years of typing, and because there were no computers, not yet, and we had typing classes, and we just took
On a
gosh,
typewriter.
Yes, on a typewriter.
Yep.
And because right out of high school, then just say, working through college, I would get jobs in offices and type. But how do these kids learn how to type these days if you don't have typing classes? I always wondered that because
Well,
I'm get type
I
like
think
70
because
some words a minute.
Most
You know?
kids now, yeah, I don't think that that's a requirement anymore with a lot of jobs. Like I remember that being in a job description, like you had to type so many words per minute.
Right.
I don't think that that's the case anymore, but I feel
Well,
like
I would doubt it.
kids now are just familiar with keyboard because they're using it, whether it's on their phone, on their tablet, on a computer, they're using a keyboard.
But who taught them home row?
Probably nobody. I mean,
Huh. Well,
I
wondered
taught
about
my,
that.
I had, so in the 80s, the end of the 80s, when I went to, this was after I graduated from high school, and I went to a computer school. I was the only one in my class in that computer school that didn't know how to type. Now,
Really?
most people were older than me,
Well, then that would make sense because they were
but
more
I
my
was
age.
the only one
Really?
that couldn't type. So, guess what the instructor said to me?
Huh.
Here's a book. You need to learn how to type.
Oh, gosh.
So I had to teach myself how to type,
Okay.
which was easy. But I didn't take it in high school.
But did they teach you the home row and then you went from there?
Yep. I just remembered sitting down and it was on AS, ASDF, ASDF,
How'd you
JKL
pull that
sound.
out?
You know,
Wow. Okay.
it's just, and I sat there and did that for hours. And I know within a week I was typing.
Wow. You are
So-
all that in a bag of chips. because
Totally rad.
you brought out that first line of home row, no problem. ASDF.
ASDF JKL Sam.
Yeah. I couldn't even say that out loud.
Well, I sometimes now, this is, all right, so we're going to flip to my crazy, but sometimes when I'm listening to people talk now, I air type what they're saying.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I will air
It's
type.
just weird.
It is. Like if I have my hands, I'll be like, if they're saying like, oh, like this is very fun. And I'll be air typing it.
Wow, major dork.
It's my brain. That's probably
I do that with numbers.
Do you?
Yeah, I add constantly. If I'm in the back of a car, license plate has numbers, I'm adding them.
Ah, see? I'm not the only dork.
I had every license plate that I'm in back of.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I wanted to be an accountant.
Well,
Was that?
but that's. Wait, what were we talking about?
I don't know.
What were we were
Kinda know.
adding and typing and adding and
So-
I don't even know if they. I don't know. Do they teach typing in school today?
No. I would know. No.
They don't teach cursive writing either in most schools anymore.
Yeah, that's strange too. But how about, I was just thinking too, that driving around town, you'd always have to have a quarter once you start driving, because you'd have to go to a payphone if you needed it. So,
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Sorry.
Payphones. Remember they were everywhere.
yeah, say don't leave home without that quarter, in case you have to make a call.
You did.
Yeah, you always make sure you had loose change.
And there was a payphone everywhere. Like every
Yeah.
store you'd go into, there was a payphone
Payphone.
on the wall somewhere.
Right.
There were phone booths outside along the street.
Yeah,
I mean,
everywhere.
so you had access to a phone pretty much,
Just had to pull
wherever,
up to
but
one
you had to
and-
have
and
your
get out
cash. Yeah.
and have your change. You just had to have change. Otherwise
Oh
you're in
my
trouble.
gosh! And remember the phone books that would hang in the
with
phone?
chain?
Yeah, the thick phone books
Yeah.
and
The chain.
you'd have to look up. You get lost, so you're like, all right, I got to find out who I was going to see. There's their number, and you have to call them and be like, well, it was push button by that time. You had to call them and be like, I don't know, I'm lost. This is where I'm at.
But phone books, they're obsolete as well.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they're just gone.
Because you don't need phone, like it's what
No.
on maps
And microfiche.
and microfiche or microfiche.
What's the proper way to say that? Yeah, maps. Maps is a big deal. I mean, I love
that's
maps.
all right here now. It's all on the
Right.
phone, so we
Love
don't.
maps.
That's why we don't need payphones and maps.
You always had a map in your car.
You did.
Always. But that's where you learn to explore. You just sort of go off on the side roads.
You'd have to
and-
route. Well, I remember before you take a trip, you'd sit down, get your map out, and you'd have to map out. And you knew, like, okay, I got to drive down this
Right.
road until I get to this intersection, and I got to
Right.
take a left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's some of my best adventures were following a map to go off course, you know. Even in Europe, just had a map, bought a map of the city we were in or, around there, and sort of went off and took an adventure and stayed in little inns that you never know were there. And so maps are cool. Yeah, I miss maps.
So I guess that
Yeah.
map companies lost a lot of money when cell phones came out. And
Yeah, Rand McNally.
Yeah.
Yeah. They took a hit there.
Do you remember when I was in
Drag.
real estate, which was not in the 70s, 80s, or maybe it was in the 90s, but you had to buy a book, and it was thick, and it usually covered your area,
6 counties,
Yeah.
7 counties.
and it was very detailed grid,
Yep.
and you'd flip through that book. You had the house address, you'd find it, and you could get your directions from there. I mean, the
Yeah.
map you depended on it.
I love the map. So another thing I was thinking of too was, because I missed my workout this morning, was the Jane Fonda workout.
Oh gosh.
And how that really took off. And the high leotard, and the leg warmers, and the nylons of some kind or another.
Was that-
Leotards.
That was in the 80s.
Yeah, and the head. I tried to look for a headband. They were
Headband, the
long gone.
spandex.
Yeah, the spandex. Yeah, that was really big, the workouts. That really took off. But Jane looked good.
She
My
did.
research, I'm like, you go, Jane.
She did,
Yeah.
yeah.
She looked good. She still looks good.
I mean, if you watch back at those videos now in the 80s where everybody's got those colorful headbands on and their big hair, like a band cut through all this big hair.
Tease.
Yeah. And all the
Lot of
colors that
hairspray
they had
and-
on.
yeah.
I mean, it was very colorful.
Very colorful.
It was a very colorful time.
Gosh. And then, it's so weird. Then we went
Leg
straight hair.
warmers.
Leg warmers were big.
We just talked
we all
about
had
that a
leg
little bit
warmers.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had them.
You should like crunch them down sometimes. They'd be like,
I wish I kept some of that stuff, you know? You think you move a few times over the years and you're just, I have to get rid of this stuff.
Did you ever wear a side ponytail? Because obviously that was a thing.
That was a big deal, and I never did. And I had long hair.
You never sported a side ponytail, huh?
I don't think I did. No. I don't think so. No. Huh.
Well, I surely didn't.
No.
Though I did have my version of big hair in the 80s. I had a mullet, and it was permed.
Yeah.
Now, that was my later years of high school, but...
That would make sense. I would get perms every year. Big perms. Just right. Just
What's
a
the
lot
thing?
of
You
hair.
had to have big hair.
Yeah, I had a lot of hair, and so it was just, big perms.
Why do you suppose big hair rolled in the 80s?
I don't know.
What was it? Like the 70s, to me, I remember women having long, straight hair, very long.
Very like hippie-ish from
Yeah.
the 60s into the 70s, just long, straight hair. Like today, just straight hair.
Yeah.
And, you're right.
And then all of a sudden we
So
woke
it
up in the
shifted.
80s and everybody's like,
like-
no, we need big hair. Big, like, remember, like, not kidding. Like,
Claire all got a hold of them.
like the bangs used to stick straight up in the front.
They
Not, and
so
not just
did.
short, but they were big.
Yeah.
curled off.
Big bangs. Yes.
Wow.
A lot of hairspray. Bigger hair, the better.
Hairspray. Yes.
A lot of
The bigger, the
Aquanet.
better.
A lot of Aquanet.
That stuff was, you couldn't get that stuff off. I mean, that got on the wall.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
so sticky.
And you could smell it forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
get it all
Aquanet
over you.
hairspray. I didn't use, well, did I use it? I'm sure I used hairspray at some point.
I bet you did.
I did, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I did. I know I did.
And then back now that approaching the 60s, you almost need it again to get down those grays.
Yeah.
Stay down there, you wily wabbits.
do they make hairspray for the not young crowd?
Well, it's the same.
Because you don't like
You
that.
just-
Does it still smell like that and just like
Well, not
ploof
quite like
through the air?
Aquanet. Yeah, I mean,
I thought you used, now I thought we use like hair, like clay and wax.
yeah, that works and stuff, but hairspray really does help with those little, those little crazy squirrely things.
Yeah.
That doesn't stray. You need, you're stay down there, you
Oh my
bitch.
gosh. I do remember big hair. Like my hair was permed and it was tight curls, but when it would dry, obviously those curls relax. But I used to buy this stuff and I wish I could remember. It was in a bottle, plastic bottle. It was a spray. And you just sprayed it on your
plastic bottle?
Yeah, plastic
right.
bottle.
All right, Dark.
And you sprayed it on your hair and it made it soft and it smelled really good and it would make the curls tighter. But it smelled so
Oh,
good.
yeah, I know. Yes. Yeah.
And I used to spray that
I know
on
what
my
you're
hair
talking
all the time.
yeah.
All the time.
Oh, I would love to see a picture of that, of you with that curly hair.
Hmm.
And maybe we just need to show it on the next, just a quick, and I'll show you my 8th grade perm, if you show me yours. I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
Yeah. Show and tell. I'll have to see if I have a picture of the tight curls. I know my senior picture, it was more loose, but it was still the curled mullet. Because the mullet was very much in.
The mullet was in.
For sure.
So we're going to go really quick now to the 80s. It would have been 80s when the computer came out.
Yes.
First computer.
Yep.
And that changed everything.
Oh,
Right.
my God, yes.
Yes.
Could you imagine?
Yes. And then from there, it just...
Well,
we all know what
actually, do you
happened
know
there.
the first computer was made in the 60s? I didn't know this. I found this last night when I was
No
looking up
way,
stuff.
E.T. See photo.
But I think Apple
Of course. IBM. Wasn't it IBM?
came along, and
Yeah,
they weren't the
Apple came?
first. See, I didn't write this down because I was like,
I don't know. I'm making it up.
Everybody
IBM. It
knows
just
this.
seems like it was IBM. IBM was
Microsoft and
everywhere. It's like
IBM worked together. So Microsoft created the first operating system, which I think they sold to IBM that used it. I could be wrong, but I think the first like home computers were really in the 80s when you started
the
having
home computers.
computer at home.
Well, I remember it would have been 83 or 84. I took a computer class, and they were so obviously they were already out.
Was it a home computer? Or was it the
What?
giant box computer?
No,
with-
everything was. I didn't have
monitor?
one. I'm just saying I took a class in college.
Yeah.
That was one of my, and he was talking about bytes and all that, and I'm like, what the heck is this?
Well,
What are you talking about?
Computers in the 80s typically only had 64 kilobytes of memory. That's that's like nothing.
Unheard of.
Nothing. I mean, could you imagine? That's nothing.
Did I tell you I really didn't care for the class? I was number.
Yeah.
I didn't. So
I-
this
it-
seems
Computer class was not, I mean, when I went
little.
to computer
Just a
school, I remember the computer was at the front of the class. It was a huge box. And then we had our monitors in front of us and a keyboard, but it was, I mean, but that's where it all started. Like it kind of changed
everything.
everything.
Yeah, changed everything.
And that's what, you know,
Cheers.
cheers. Take a
Oh, go ahead.
picture. It lasts longer.
Yeah. You remember that one?
Just-
Take my picture.
Oh
It
my
lasts
God,
longer.
take
Stop
a
looking
picture.
at me.
Lasts
Stop
longer.
looking at my butt.
But I was trying to,
Now they do. Take a picture.
yeah, everybody takes a picture with their
Yeah.
phone, which
Yeah,
has
really
kind of
takes a-
replaced the computer.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah. We've come a long way, baby.
we have.
Oh, that was a
But,
commercial.
and it's like fast. When you stop and you look at it, it's
Super
happened so fast.
Yeah, super fast.
But yet, okay, so if you sat down with an 18-year-old today and said, you know, oh yeah, back in the 70s, they're going to be like, you are old.
Right.
You are old.
Yeah, totally. And
Back in the 70s?
that's the weirdest thing. Well, the reason I bring up microfiche is I was listening to a podcast and the two announcers, they were talking about, what they were looking into. They talked about microfiche, and neither one of them knew what it was, so they had to look it up. And
Oh
I
my
thought,
gosh.
Oh man.
Yeah, we
You
talked
know,
about this briefly about
Yes.
microfiche and the use of it. I mean, I
Right.
made microfiche. That's
Right.
when I first started working. That was in the late 80s. I worked
Right.
for a bank, and that's where all the information was on a
It
microfiche.
was. I remember. I think I did it all at the library. And looked-
Yeah, I'm
and looked
sure
it
that
up.
they cataloged everything on a microfiche
Right.
or microfiche, whichever.
Microfiche.
But that's how everything was before computers, before you had databases that housed all this stuff.
Right.
Everything was on microfiche. You'd have to go pull the fish out. We had little envelopes for the fish. You know, you'd pull that out and stick it in the
Right.
little.
Isn't it? You had to look up years. or
projector.
months. Gosh, I forget. It's so long ago. I
I used to
remember
make
doing
those. I made those.
maybe I looked at one of yours.
Well, unless you worked at the
Who
bank.
knows?
I mean, if you worked
No.
at the bank, yeah, maybe.
No, didn't work.
But that was also the time of reel-to-reel tapes. Like
Oh,
in the
yeah.
operations center, I had to load tapes on. You know, you have to string it through and
Uh-huh.
start it over here,
Uh-huh.
and then go enter some commands.
Yeah.
And that's what made the microfiche. It took the data from
Ah.
the reel-to-reel.
You are so talented.
I know.
Man of many hats.
Look at that. It just means I've been around a long time. Like made microfiche.
I thought you were going to stop there. I've been around a lot.
Been around. I've been around that much. Long time.
Well, you continued the sentence.
Been
so
around
it
a
worked out
long
well.
time.
Ended well.
It did end well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, what do you think?
Well, hey, so the top song of
Oh.
the 80s was at the top for 32 weeks. Do you know what it is? Did you read this?
No, gosh. Top song of the 80s. The Bee Gees.
No. It was Jesse's
that was
Girl.
70s. Oh, Jesse's Girl. I loved that song. Yeah.
I didn't know who sang that
Oh,
until I looked this up. Rick
Yeah.
Springfield.
yes. I remember. That was a great song.
How'd it go?
I wish I had Jesse's girl. I wish I had Jesse's girl. How can I find a woman like?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, something like that. You remember it and you got it now?
See that, yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
yeah,
I don't know all the words, but now
Yeah.
now you say that, I do remember
yeah.
the song.
It was a big song.
Jesse's girl.
Yeah, it's a good song. I'm not a singer.
What did you watch on TV in the 80s? What was your favorite show?
God, I don't know. I don't know.
You want me to tell you what the popular shows were?
What?
Of course you do. Cheers.
Please.
Cheers.
Oh, Cheers was a great show.
Do you remember
though.
that?
Love Cheers.
I don't think I really cared for it.
I like Cheers. I don't know if I watched it religiously, but I enjoyed
Didn't that take place in Chicago? Was Cheers in
it.
Chicago?
No, you dork.
No, it was in
Boston.
Boston.
They have a bar there.
Boston.
I've been there quite a few times. And they have a bar in Boston there.
You're right. It
And,
was
and they
Boston.
have the statue or the.
I'm so
Pictures
sorry
of-
for all of the fans out there who are like, oh, he just said Chicago. It was Boston.
Boston.
Boston. It was that the Cosby Show, Golden Girls, Magnum PI.
Oh, they just came out with a new one too. We're almost gaggified by that.
Yeah, I can't.
PI. What was the one prior to that though? Oh, the Golden Girls.
The Golden Girls.
Liked those two.
I wasn't.
But I don't know about them.
Like when it came out. Yeah, when it came out, I don't think I watched it,
Yeah.
but I do remember watching Magnum PI.
Well, yeah. Tom Selleck
Tom
and his little
Selleck.
shorts.
Yeah,
Who would want to?
in his red Ferrari
Yeah. You remember
in
how
Hawaii.
short his shorts?
Yeah, they were short.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Well, that was the thing in that. I mean,
It was a thing.
I
How
wore
did
spandex in
How
the
did
80s.
nothing like fall out in
I
those
don't
little
know.
shorts from these men?
he probably had
back then?
spandex on underneath.
But even so, I mean, even not in Hollywood, day to day life. How did their junk not, land down?
Well, they probably wore some type of undergarment.
Oh, well, I'm asking you too. You would have worn them. Did you wear short shorts?
I don't think that I did. I was more board short.
Board shorts?
Yeah.
That was more 90s though, wasn't it? Board shorts? No?
Yeah, it was 90s.
Hmm.
Maybe not board shorts, but mine were not short shorts. I did wear a lot of jean cutoff shorts because we would take our jeans and cut them off and
Okay.
make shorts.
Those were big too. I remember seeing guys in those. Yeah.
Like the 70s too, I
And
think.
they were all tight. Gosh, what a different time. Wow. My eyes almost hurt thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so Tom Selleck and his shorts on Magnum PI.
Yep.
I just remember I was fascinated with his Ferrari, and it was in Hawaii.
Yes.
And so that was always I really liked the fact that it was in Hawaii.
Yes.
Oh, and that was also the decade of the yuppies. So the 70s, it was the hippies. The 80s, it was the yuppies.
Yeah. Huh.
Were you a yuppie?
Were you?
What was the definition of a yuppie? Young, urban professional.
I was not a yuppie.
I think I was too young. I definitely was not a yuppie. I grew up in the country, so.
No, I was already working in the 80s and I had my career going. And but I worked at the airport. I wasn't a yuppie. I was wasn't a yuppie.
Yeah, I don't think I was a
I'm
yuppie
classified as something completely different.
either.
Back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Went to Florida, your state, for a while.
You did in the 80s?
Yes,
Oh, that's right.
I did. 80, yeah, mid-80s.
Yes.
Mid-80s. Yep. I was having a ball, and that's skinny.
Well, I'm sure. Did you just slather on baby oil in Florida to get your sun going?
Probably.
Or did you use
I slathered on something.
the tanning lotion by that time?
Oh, I don't know.
Hawaiian Tropic.
I don't know. I was in school there, too.
I remember when I moved to Florida, when you go to the beach, it was that Hawaiian Tropic oil was the thing.
That always smelled good.
I did.
Yeah.
It's like a pina colada.
Right.
Pina colada. Pina colada. It smelled good, and that's why I like to wear it. That was the only reason.
Oh, I know. I love the smell of that.
But that's what everybody would be slathered in on the beach. Everybody's like glistening.
Yeah.
Like everybody's
was good.
shiny.
So, you have any ending comments you'd like to make about the 70s, 80s, and 90s?
Wait,
Tell
we
us,
haven't even
Rich.
got to the 90s yet.
I know we're going to have to, they weren't as exciting as the 70s and 80s, apparently.
Are we already at 58 minutes?
Yeah. That's what
Okay.
I'm saying.
I'm going.
Uh-huh. When's our next show?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks from today, which is, what is that date? Let's look at it.
Same place, same time, and a
It,
fabulous content.
fabulous.
Fabulous. Join us.
Today's the 15th, so that's actually March 1st.
Okay.
Wow.
I got your calendar.
Can you believe February's gonna be gone already?
February's a short month.
I guess it is. That's right. Only 28 days.
Right.
But February is a fabulous month.
Yes. It's good. It's a
That's
nice
a
day
good
today,
month.
too.
It's
Not
beautiful
cold?
outside. No, it's not
That's nice.
cold, but it's probably gonna snow.
Well, thanks for joining us today. I hope you had as much fun as we did.
Yeah.
You know, is that
Reminiscing.
fun?
Sorry we didn't really get to talk about the 90s a whole lot. That's kind of crazy. I guess we had a lot of 70s and 80s stuff. Well, 80s was really the time.
Yeah,
it was like the
80s.
prime.
Yeah.
Graduated in the 80s from high school.
Yes. 90s is just working decade.
Yeah, that's when you start your.
Yeah. And then I had babies,
Yeah.
which was good.
So 90s was kind of
Good
like
decade.
when all that starts. So
Yeah.
80s was really still the last of the innocent years,
Yeah.
if you want to call it innocent. But
Okay. You could stick with that. I'll
Yeah,
stick with
okay.
my own.
all right. Well, remember to subscribe to our channel. Again, if you take any of our links, whether you're coming from Facebook or TikTok, any of our social media accounts, there are links to our YouTube channel. So once you get to the YouTube channel, and that's what you're watching us on right now, make sure to hit that subscribe button.
Yes.
Yes. And
Like
then
it.
like the video and then share it. You can share it on your Facebook page. It's really easy to do just by hitting share, and you can link it to your Facebook page, or just tell your friends about it. Tell them to go to our YouTube channel.
Yes. And also, if you have any suggestions that, because we have a lot of ideas, but if something just sort of gets you and say, oh man, I'd love for them to talk about that, or at least bring it up, you could always,
Yeah, we're always open for topics. Actually,
Yeah.
I think that would make it even more interesting if we had listeners.
bring it, because we will be real. We're going to try to be pretty real about things, because we have a few reels coming up, I think.
Real feelers,
Real feelers.
feelers,
Reels.
reels,
Yeah.
reels.
Ah.
We were pretty much fun all the time, but have
We'll
some
mix fun
reels.
with the reels.
Yeah, we will. We
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah,
you have to
that's
have fun with
the
even
reels.
with the reels.
Yeah,
I'll
absolutely.
Make the reels.
All right.
Okay, well, let me
Well-
get everything ready here.
Peace out. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining. Please remember again to subscribe, like, share. And please leave a comment below the video with any suggestions, thoughts, what you liked, what you didn't like about the podcast.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And because we do,
Love to hear your comments.
exactly, we do want to make sure that this is enjoyable. So
All
I
right.
guess until next time,
Until next
what
time.
term can we use?
Mm,
We were having a ball.
having a ball. Oh, I'll give you a knuckle sandwich.
I guess it's time to go veg out.
I think that's time. It's time. Veg out.
It is as if.
Yeah. Peace out.
All right. Until next time.
Ciao.